Hello, y'all. It's me again. I'm just coming on a video today. I gotta be honest. I feel like things are becoming more tranquil, and I'm starting to get I think once I shifted out of my drama that I was going through, the more preparatory cutting I do, the more proverbial energy pushing I do, the better and better my external reality is turning out. I haven't been getting much in the ways of antagonization and or mistreatment, etc. So my shielding, my protection that I've been doing every day has been really helpful because I haven't really had to interact with at least my projections of dilemma. Okay, let's just put it simple. I don't have to deal with my ex, his crazy sister, and his girlfriend. The more I keep pushing that reality out of my my thought process, I find the more I don't have to deal with any of the drama, or I don't get spiritually attacked as much. So that kind of brought me upon this idea that I wanted to talk about, which is the basics. Got to talk about the basics. We got to talk about the stories we tell ourselves, because those stories propel our reality. And for those of us that are on, or maybe this is all brand new, I can say for myself, it wasn't brand new for me the second time around. Like, I was fortunate enough to have gone through some of this about 10-15 years ago. So it wasn't like it was all starting from fresh. But for those of you that are starting fresh and are wondering, like, what the hell is going on? What am I interacting with? Why is this happening to me? You know, we need to discuss that, because some people automatically sink right into it and start vibing. And then there's a lot of us that are very critical or think very cerebrally, don't work as much with the heart, even though it's a very strong organ that or even chakra. For those of you that know what chakras are, some of you may still be wondering what a chakra is. Not I'm saying like those that are, you know, I feel like most of my brothers and sisters would have an idea of what a chakra is, but there are some of us that don't understand the difference between it being on or off. There's some of us that don't know the difference between an eye being on or off. So I think in this video, what I want to talk about is the challenges that certain stories bring upon us. Also, what else did I want to talk about? Minimizing irregularities or stagnations, or if you want to say lower entity demonic manipulation in your life. This is what this video will be talking about. And also, what was the last thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, the simplicities that someone can bring to the world without knowing it. Okay, so I guess we'll start there. Because back to basics and simplicities is kind of where I'm at. For those of us out there that are like, what is my purpose? What am I doing? What am I supposed to do? You have to remember, always, 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 you would never have been chosen, or you never would have been who you are unless you are who you are. And what I mean by that is that even if you don't see why you're chosen, even if you don't understand it, it's not for you to understand. Okay? Just like how our friends, our family, other people around us see things in us that we don't see, because we're always looking through these eyeballs out at the world, right? It's not like we have a version of us standing there inspecting us and going, oh, she's pretty smart. You know, oh, she's pretty classy. We don't have that second rhetoric coming to us on a daily basis. Some of us can come out of our body and then, you know, view ourselves. But at the same time, it's like, it's hard when you have dual sight. So we have to really believe and have faith that whatever it is that we've got going on for ourselves is enough. That's number one. You have to be enough. And the reason why I say enough, because I noticed a lot of people I'm interacting with recently, a lot of people that I'm meeting, they have this idea that God is here and I'm over here. And I need to get here in order to find God. And that's a big, huge fallacy. Please, first and foremost, please understand this. God is not anywhere. Okay? God is in you. You are God. And therefore, you always have connection. So a lot of us use things like churches, or we use prayer group. Not to say that prayer groups are bad. Like, please, by all means, continue going to your church. Continue. It's the element of where you find your worth. Like, do you find that you only find God when you're in church? Do you only find God when you're praying? Do you only find God when maybe you're on stage, or whatever the case may be? Sometimes there's these stories or preconceived notions that we tell ourselves that limit us. Okay, so let's say, for example, you're a God-fearing person, but you associate your version of God with the church. Let's say, for example, you're a preacher, you're someone, like, I'll give you an example. Like, yesterday I was walking around on Bloor Street just picking up my son, and there was this woman that came up to me, a very lovely woman. Why she chose me, it's funny. You know, it always seems to happen. I get a lot of these people come up to me a lot. And she comes up to me and she starts telling me about Jesus and how great he is and how I need to come to the church and I need to come see it. And I literally sat there with her and I stood there with her and I said, so am I only going to find Jesus when I go to the Jehovah Hall? And she kind of looked at me like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're telling me about Jesus and you're telling me that I got to go to the Jehovah Hall to go talk about Jesus and go find Jesus. And she looked all confused. Like, she's never been asked that question before. And those are the types of questions you got to ask yourself, right? Like, do I only find Jesus when I go jogging at the gym? Or do I only find Jesus when I go to the church on Sunday? And these things are very pivotal and important, and in terms of your own power and how you receive guidance and how you feel involved in a day-to-day basis. So for some of us that are already on, we understand this concept. For those of us that are still working through it, these concepts need to be understood. So as this woman is telling me that Jesus is great and I got to go to Jehovah this, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, this is the dilemma that a lot of beautiful people are struggling with. And the main important idea is that God, Jesus, angels, they're not somewhere. They're not in a place. They're not in a temple. I mean, yes, you should go adorn places and admire them and, you know, maybe feel connected to them. That's fine. But it's like saying that you are only found in your house. That's a fallacy. You're not. Sometimes you're at the gym. Sometimes you're at school. Sometimes you're at the babysitter's. You're not uniquely attached to an item or a place. So please understand that God, the angels, any avatar of any sort is not found in one place. So if you are coming on, that is one of the key elements that you need to realize. That in order to connect, in order to come into your full, beautiful self, you have to first realize that you yourself are not in one place. Therefore, all items that I just expressed are not in one place. So if you're associating a higher up entity as only being in one said place and you can only connect to them in that one place, you are going to have a lot of dilemmas, because the thing is that this is a story, a rhetoric you've told yourself. You only gain power when you're here to connect with that. Big fallacy. Because that what happens is that you formulate a disconnect in your mind. You formulate a disconnect in your own power, your own ability to connect. So I wanted to talk about that first you got to break all these little stories you tell yourself in order to find your attention, to find what it is ideally that you're looking for. Because I know for myself, these little stories keep us bound for a very long time. So I really wanted to press upon that these little stories we tell ourselves need to be broken down one by one by one by one. You don't just find God in a house. You don't just find Jesus on the cross. You don't just find angels in the lovely pictures that you see at church. They are with you everywhere. You are them and they are you. They are not a disattachment. You are embodied in one all. So if you are struggling yourself to finding, what this means about enlightenment, what this means about ascension, is breaking down these little stories that you've told yourself. And those stories can go forever. Like for me, right? The story I told myself that kept me bound for almost, 15 years was that when I walked away from my path, that God was mad at me, that I had descended, and that God was mad, and that's why I couldn't reach my crown. That's why I couldn't go get my crown, was because God was mad at me. This was a story I told myself. That's it. It was always there. You have to understand that when I finally realized that I was the one standing in my own way for 15 years, this happens to all of us. This happens to every single person in this planet, on this planet. We genuinely tell ourselves stories that create barriers that stop us from going and ascending directly. So this little video is to talk about, and this is something you might want to sit down, take a piece of paper and realize. Sometimes these stories can be like, oh, I can't ascend because I'm a mom. Oh, I can't ascend because too many people depend on me. I can't do this because if I do this, then that will happen. These little stories are the reason why you can't connect with yourself. You can't connect with the all. You can't connect with what your next steps are going to be. It's not to say that you're not connected. It's not to say that, but those hindrances, those little stories that you've told yourself are what cultivate kind of like if you want to think about it like a metaphorical like binding. They bind you so that you can't see the real truth. The real truth is, yeah, you're a mom, but you could be a kick-ass mom as you ascend. Yeah, you have a lot of responsibilities with people, but that doesn't change that you can be close to God. You tell yourself every story, whatever the story may be, but these little stories need to be looked at. They need to be exercised. They need to be admonished out of your thinking, because if you don't do that, you're always going to do this separatist belief. And once you do the separatist belief, it's like as if, like, I swear Jesus says it so well when he talks about, you know, the piece of wood in your eye, that log in your eye. Okay, the thing is that these little stories, they might start off as little splinters, you know, little things here and there, but eventually they become one big, great log in your eye that you can't see the truth. And it's usually something self-imposed. Sometimes we believe what others tell us, and that can be an imposition too, but usually it's us telling us the story. And we have to break those stories one by one so that the truth can be cleared up for ourselves. Because the thing is that the stories are designed in order to limit us. And the reason why they're there to limit us is because obviously, as you know, with the lowers, that's a very easy way to stop us and stall us. It's like a little voice can say, oh, you know, she's right. You can't go to do this because of that. And that little voice in your left side, your right side, usually, if you want to call it the metaphorical, you know, demon and angel thing, it's a real thing, because if you adopt that thinking, right? If you believe it, it becomes real and they win. Because they're like, oh, she believed it. Now she's going to be stuck for another 6 years. She's going to be looping around, looping and looping and looping on that one story. And that's where they want you stuck. So in this time, we don't have time to afford that. As somebody who's trying to ascend, you have to break these stories. These little stories that tell you you're not good enough. This isn't the time. This isn't for you. These stories have to be broken. Number one, break them down one by one, whatever they are. Sit with a piece of paper and think of all the challenges and all the reasons why it's not you. Why it's going to be someone else. And the thing is, that leads me to the next point, right? A lot of us, like most of us, we're just everyday people. We're not doing anything over the moon, you know. I'm a mom. I have a baby. I take my baby to daycare. I come home. I cook dinner. And these things seem so basic, but at the same time, we're like, how do we translate that into an energy being? How do we translate that into somebody who could bring positivity? Now, think about it. For me, right? I'm a mom. I bring my son to daycare, right? On my way to daycare, I might run into people. How do you treat those people? Are you pleasant? Are you saying hello? Are you absorbing the day as it comes to you? Do you look over at the trees in the sun and realize that the birds are singing and it's a beautiful day? And you're grateful for the sun rays on your face that you can feel, that you can see? Are these things that you're adopting, that you're thinking about? Because this is how you do it. As simplistic and as you know, mundane as you think your day can be. These little ways of looking at things, or these little changes of perception, also the way you treat people, right, is a huge reverberation on the world. You may not realize that, but try this for one day. Try smiling at everyone you see. Try. If you just want to see what I'm talking about, that's a simple way to do it. Just walk down the street and not fake it. Really be happy. Think about something happy. Think about winning the lottery. Think whatever it's going to take to keep that smile on your face. It doesn't even have to be all day. It could be for like 10 minutes walking down the street, a major street. And you start to realize that the more you smile and then people smile back at you, there starts to be this like evolution of like raising of energy just around you. So it's something as simple as being nice, kind to your neighbor, showing smiles, not being bogged down by the rhetoric in our heads all the time. Looking around, seeing the smell of the street, the birds that you can hear. Everything is there for you, and you have to sometimes stop and realize and praise what is around you. And by praising that and adopting that, you end up expelling it out to the world. And even though you don't think it's a big deal, it is, because that ricochet will continue. You smile at that person smiles at the next person, and that person smiles at another person. You have to think that you're not limited. You're limitless, okay? Because without that thinking, you're going to be stalled, and then you're just going to fall into the camp of the other side, and you're going to stay stuck, and that's where you're going to end up. You're going to have all this beauty to give the world, but it's because of your story, your thinking, what you told yourself. I don't make a difference. That is crap. Okay, everybody makes a difference. It wouldn't be like, I used to listen to that from so many people, okay, because I was such an advocate for like getting rid of plastic bags, not using straws everywhere we go. I like to pick up garbage when I'm outside. I see plastic on the road, it makes me nervous. Because it's like these little things go a big way. Like they could end up in our lakes or oceans, And I'm just saying that's me. That's my jam, Like when I'm out there, like I like to pick up garbage. I like to believe that the world's changing. I like to believe that things, and look, for example, like all of our Tim Hortons here have cardboard straws now. A lot of our supermarkets have bags that are biodegradable. So it's not an effort that's put to waste. Anything you believe, anything that you want to see changed in your world, you just have to believe that one human being can make a difference, can change, because it's only through that one idea that things do evolve. If you give up from the minute that you come off the hop, you've already shot yourself in the foot in the race. You're already bleeding out on the race. So it's better to just say, you know what? Maybe I won't win the race, but I sure as going to give it my best. And then you go run that race. And you never know where you'll end up. Perhaps you'll help somebody along the race and they'll do better. Or maybe you'll win. Or maybe you'll come in 16th, but you'll tell yourself, hey, at least I ran that race and I did it as best as I could. So people need to really look at what their potential strengths are and not give up on themselves, especially during this time. So I hope that helped. But the rhetorics are the main thing, and just exuding what little bit you think you can give. Because the thing is that little bit will change the world. I know you think it's not true, but it is. It really, really is. You need to know that it is. Forget everything else. No, it's not. Try. Lie to yourself for a couple of days. I mean, don't lie, but if it's something you've never said to yourself, or you never let yourself say it, you know what I mean? There's no harm in telling yourself something you don't believe for a little while and see how it changes your day. Like it doesn't hurt to tell yourself that you're beautiful if you don't think you are. No one's around you and going to be like, oh, she's lying. She's not beautiful. It's not going to happen. The thing is that these are things that we naturally are. And we have to just adopt the stories that make sense for where we're headed. So I hope that helps. Because I've noticed that, like, almost everyone's like, I don't know, I can't. And I'm just there like, yes, we can. Yes, we are. This is not the time to, chicken out and cry. We gotta really suck it up and keep moving. I don't want to seem too far-flung. There is one more thing I wanted to touch upon, and this is because I just don't know what's going on with it. But I've noticed in the last weeks that I've been getting a lot of senses towards these three places: California, Jamaica, and Paris. I don't know, like, I keep seeing the Eiffel Tower all the time. I keep seeing, like, people talking about Paris, 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 Paris. So I'm like, I'm getting hinted a lot at Paris recently in the last month. The same with Jamaica. Like, I started seeing a whole bunch of, like, commercials. This, Jamaica here, Jamaica there. And I live in Toronto. We're full of Jamaicans. We got full of Parisians. We got all kinds of people here. So I don't know why all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot about Jamaica. And the last one was California. And I don't know if this is just because things are going to pop off in these regions or if there are things we need to pay attention to. But like I said, I always pay attention to the signs, the symbols that I'm seeing. And for some reason, those three places are really sticking out to me. So we got Paris, we got Jamaica, and we got California. So if I get any more vibes about what's going on with that, I'll definitely let you guys know. But let's work on breaking rhetorics, faking it till we make it at least, and realizing that even our small contributions on this planet make a huge change. So don't give up on yourself. You are unique. There's nobody like you, and you're always going to do something different than everyone else. So don't give up. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do yet, but you don't see me stop, and I'm just like, I'm going to make videos and I'm going to read people and I'm going to see where this goes. But you know what? It's better than sitting at home feeling sorry for myself. Telling myself, I'm not good enough. Why? Why not try? Why not give it a stab at it, you know? So I hope I helped you guys break the rhetorics. They're holding us down, okay? So I love you all. Until next time.